Here? I don't see her. Okay. Here she is. Welcome, everybody, to our regular meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. Is there a motion to open tonight's meeting? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor. Meeting is hereby opened. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. At the outset, I just want to note that Trustee Taylor is excused from tonight's meeting. Trustee Sullivan is appearing virtually. Her address has been properly noticed. And Trustee Galen is also appearing virtually from Jackson, Wyoming. It's 55 North Cache Street, Jackson, Wyoming. We had a long discussion for the workshop regarding Gould Park, and we didn't get to necessarily all the items that were in our workshop. So I just want to add some of the items that were scheduled for the workshop to be on the current agenda. So we had a discussion listed for public art. I think Trustee Galen, this is something that you wanted to discuss, so can you bring it up?
So I was assigned by the board to look into specifically getting a mural painted on the High Street wall opposite the Metro North Station exit. And I needed clarification on process for that. So specifically so the mural is a very, I forget the exact dimensions, but it's very long and very tall. So it's going to be an extensive, design and implementation process. And the question is, are we allowed to find and hire someone to do that? Does it have to go out to bid? What is the process for getting this project done?
Well, Lee, I know that Trustee Galen had been speaking to you about this. So do you have any advice that you can give to us?
I did. I started to do a lot more in-depth research on this, and I also spoke to the experts up at NICOM. And based upon the First Amendment implications, and there has been lots of litigation on public art, I just wondered if I could have a little bit more time just to make sure that we don't run afoul of issues related to sign and advancing public art and without going through the appropriate procurement process.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion that I would also reach out to Arts Westchester, because they've been doing lots of public art, and there is lots of, saying that.
Yep, no,
they also have artists who specialize in that and who,
yes,
have been painting on the Mamaroneck and New Rochelle.
Yes. I actually did, like I said, a fair amount of research, and included in that research was a brilliant article in Westchester Magazine, which had all of the large-faced murals throughout the county. So I did have those as well. But we are talking about placing this on a public property, on a public structure, and many of the murals described in that article were on private and commercial properties owned by private individuals. So I just want to make sure that, we mind ourselves that we don't run afoul of procurement and also allegations of First Amendment issues. So I didn't complete it. I was away the weekend and just back this afternoon. So I will get it done, and I certainly will bring it back in a memo form to the board.
Okay. And then the next item was a discussion of the commercial dock use. And again, Trustee Galen, I think you had information that you wanted to bring to the board regarding that?
Yeah, so The ship has somewhat sailed, I might say, for this season, because, the boating season is coming to an end, but, I started speaking with a sailboat that delivers goods by, a freight sailboat. It's based in Hudson and it does a loop down to Brooklyn. And they are stopping at a number of spots already on the Hudson River between Hudson and Brooklyn. And I had done a bunch of other research into other boating companies on the Hudson. And, a lot of it is kind of getting a little bit of a landscape analysis of who's out there and then identifying what our goals are for activating the waterfront actually on the water more effectively. And these folks at the boat had offered to kind of put an analysis together and do a bunch of introductions for us. They asked us for quite, I thought, a nominal fee of $150 to just to cover their time to make all those introductions and kind of lay it all out for us. So I am hoping for approval for that $150 expenditure so that, that would save our staff or at one of our volunteers quite a significant amount of time because it's someone who knows the entire landscape of who's on the water already. And then we can say, put things into buckets and say these vessels are entertainment vessels that take people out for a one-night tour. These are freight vessels. These are, commuting vessels, and we could understand like what all of the options are. So I'm hoping that I think I just need approval for the $150 expenditure.
But can you get something in writing from this person that would lay out what they would provide for that $150?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what we would need.
Yeah, we need a consultant agreement in place with, appropriate insurances and whatever we needed. If the individual,
Even for $150. We
yeah.
do that?
Yeah, it's professional services, so it doesn't need to go to procurement necessarily, but I would advise that we just know who this is and, because you'll need to set up an account through the treasurer's office in order to have the service fee. I'm not really understanding. It's 150 total, or is it 150 per introduction, or?
No, they just want a little bit of money to cover their time to send all the emails and make all the introductions, so.
Well, it certainly seemed like a very reasonable amount of money, so if we could just have something, in writing.
Can we get a unit bid on that?
I can do a real simple, one sheet, and then you can just authorize the
Okay,
expenditure.
yeah, if you wouldn't mind, whatever you would
Since
need.
this is a discussion, I just, wouldn't it be,
CV.
could it be a thing where they could wrap that into the cost of what the service would be? Just because it seems to me like if someone has to, there's more work that we're now requiring than they were already planning to do.
Yeah.
How do we authorize $150 on just a verbal?
You can't.
Yeah.
Just if you just
So
want
they
them
put-
to send an email to the village administrator, then that will cover us and you can go ahead and move forward. So
Okay,
we're
that's
not-
simpler than it sounded initially.
Yeah, just an email
Okay,
explaining what this entails. That would be great.
Okay, and to clarify, so these folks, they're a private company. They do offer things such as delivery of basically CSA boxes from the Hudson River and from Brooklyn up and from the Hudson down. They potentially are interested in doing like sort of sunset boat cruises, things like that on the sailboat. But just to kind of start the conversation, they would, introduce this to a bunch of other folks too, which I think would be helpful. So if an email will suffice, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, the next, moving on to our agenda, we have a presentation regarding the proposed development of property at 94/95 Ashford Avenue. And this is the first time that the board is going to be presented with this. It's at the very, very early stages, and we'll hear the presentation and then we'll ask any relevant questions, and then we can move forward as to the process going forward. Who's here to make that presentation? Are they here virtually or are they here in person?
Well,
Is anybody Anybody online? No?
Okay. Yeah,
There's nobody, there's no attendees on the meeting.
No, we don't want to hear
No, we're
you.
good, we're fine.
Who, did someone confirm that, or what's?
They made a submission to Dan Romer. Dan Romer sent them the information. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so,
First test.
all right, so I don't need a motion for that, right? I can
No,
just.
we're just moving on.
Okay, we'll move on to the next presentation. So all of those people who were here for that project, you can stay for the next one, or you can leave. But again, please, as you have clearly, read the agendas coming up, because it may well be on the next agenda. So please follow through on that, okay? Thank you, and I'm sorry you took time of your night to come here, so.
And the next meeting is the second Tuesday in September. There will not be another August
Right.
meeting.
So I think it's September 12th, if I'm correct on that, okay? Okay, so now is your time to escape, because if you want to, if you don't leave now, you're here for the next presentation, which is the property located on 6 Cedar Street. Is anybody here for 6 Cedar Street? Okay, come on up.
And I just-
One of you, I think, would first.
I just want to point out, there's just a minor error in the agenda. It includes the word subdivision. This one is just a site plan. There's no subdivision involved.
This next
Six. Okay.
Six.
presentation number 2.
Yes, the other one includes just a slight lot line change, which is considered a subdivision in your,
Okay, tell us who you are and,
Okay, so, my name is Enver, and, our company is, Negotiable LLC.
I can't really hear him. I don't know if the microphone's not working.
talk in front of them, into the mic, slowly. Can you hear? There you go.
Is it working now?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, again, my name is Enver, and, we are at, 6 Cedar Street, our company is Group LLC. We bought 6 Cedar Street, earlier this year.
Hold on, I'm hearing music.
You are? I thought it was, yeah.
It's nice mood music, Patty, but,
There we go.
All right.
Go take your phone call.
okay.
Okay,
So
so
just so I'm clear, this is the property above what used to be the Caldwell Bank area?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. We own the property at 12 Cedar Street, and we also bought the 6 Cedar Street, and we are planning on, well, we took a look at the property, and the property is aged because of, it's been done a long time ago, and, we needed some rearrangement inside and change some of the walls that were done a long time ago. So we're proposing to add basically to 2 floors. It would be 1.5, because there's already a floor there, to take out the roof and add apartments above the office space. Basically there'll be an entrance to the left side of the building, and we would do, total 4 apartments.
Okay, and and you can clarify this, but I understand you're not going to make any accommodations for the parking, is that correct?
So the property extends to the back of the building, and initially we had agreed with Performance to use the parking spots to get parking because there is parking in the back of the building. However, the building department wanted something in writing, so we went back to to Performance, and he says, basically, I cannot give you an easement to use the parking, but there is parking in the back. But we cannot have it on paper because he doesn't want to, issue an easement to go through his property. So we would be using the parking in the back, but there won't be, an easement to go through Performance parking lot.
Okay.
So we propose that, whatever parking there is, we can't add it basically to the plan.
Okay. So you've submitted architectural design plans, correct?
Correct.
But you're not the architect, correct?
I am not an architect, no.
Okay, you're the owner of the property?
Correct.
Okay. Is your architect here?
She's not available.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have
You
any?
have your planner here, and also building department is represented if you have questions.
Okay. Anybody from the Board of Trustees have any questions so far?
Yeah, I've got a very, very baseline question, and that is, why is this in front of the board? Is it just because it's the downtown?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a jurisdiction that the Village Board of Trustees has retained
Gotcha.
for any site plans coming in this
Okay,
downtown.
just making sure, because I'm, just making sure. Thanks.
Any other questions at this time? Because the process, and Laura Lee, you can correct me, the process will be that we will declare ourselves the lead agency. We will say that under secret, this is a
Listed.
unlisted action. Then we refer it to the planning board and to the Westchester County as well, right?
Yes, you'll declare your intent to serve as lead agency, and if there are other involved agencies going forward, they will do a coordinated review on the environmental.
And then it comes back to us, and we have the final approval.
Then you have a public hearing, yes. So you'll get their recommendations. They generally hold a public hearing at the planning board as well. So you'll have the benefit of comments made during that, and should the project be amended based upon those public hearings, then you'll get the recommendations on the amended plan when it comes back to you.
Okay. So at this time, does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
No, but I have a suggestion.
Sure.
In general, we're in favor of building new housing in Dobbs Ferry. I would just urge you to get together with your design professional, look closely at the buildings, not just immediately next to you, but in the neighborhood, Cedar Street, look at the good ones and use those as examples, draw from those. And if you come back to this board, and if you go to the planning board with a well-designed building, the process will be simple and straightforward. And if you do otherwise, it will be long, drawn out, and complicated. So spend the time up front and save yourself a lot of time, in the approvals process by designing a good building.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to us at this time?
No.
Okay, well, welcome to Dobbs Ferry, and then we'll see what the process is like. So I'm going to take a motion to declare our intent to serve as the lead agency for the environmental review of the project in accordance with the New York SECRA law. I'm also going to determine that the proposed project is classified as an unlisted action under SECRA, and we're going to refer this for comment and recommendation to the Dobbs Ferry Planning Board as required by the zoning code, and to refer it to the Westchester County Planning Board in accordance with general municipal law. Is there a motion as I outlined it? Trustee Patino, second trustee Sullivan, all in favor? That passes unanimously. So you're on to the next step.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, you are. Unless you want to stay to the end. No, you have to stay until 9
Keep us
o'clock.
company, yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. John, I guess you can go also, I guess. Easy day.
You might want to reach out to that applicant, find out what happened. Thank you. I thought they were here. Okay.
Okay, moving on to appointments. I'd like to announce the appointment of Justin Curian to the Ad hoc Beautification Committee as recommended by the nominating committee. Appointment number 2 is the appointment of Carolyn Pollock to the Ad hoc Sustainability Task Force as recommended by the nominating committee. I want to thank both of them for their volunteering to help the village. We appreciate all the help that we can get, and I urge everyone to look at what's available on our website and contact the nominating committee, so thank you. Next item is courtesy of the floor. Is anybody here to speak to courtesy of the floor? Come on up.
Bob Radomski, Ogden Avenue. Unit pricing, great idea. Made a lot of bills with that. All right. For over 4 years, I've been warning this and previous village board of trustees about what a major storm would do to our village. By email and at board of trustee meetings. My last email was sent July 21st. I keep all of the old ones. I have them all right here. All the emails, all the times I read. I'm not going to read them all. I'll just read one. This was on 2018 when Hastings lost power for a week. Hastings village manager was quoted as saying in the Enterprise that most of the trees fell on the power line were all rotted and should have been taken down in the first place. So that's the only one I'm going to read. I sent it to Paul Feiner about Sawmill Parkway. If you people had worked 16-hour shifts like I did in the middle of a storm, you'd understand why I'm bringing this up so many times. Storm on July 31st lasted less than a half an hour. As I stated in my last email, we do have a tree committee, and it may be a good idea for them to ID all the dead and dangerous trees around our roads, both on and off village property. Also, we should make it easier for residents to remove dangerous trees from their property and rethink how we approve and deny permits. Registered letters should be sent to property owners with dead trees on their property that may cause damage to village property, and all cost cleanups should be given to them. We haven't had a major storm, and it would have been better off if we did every year. A lot of these trees would already be weeded out. Instead, everything is very overgrown with many dead or rotted trees coming all down at the same time. That's going to leave a lot of power outages for a long time. Many trees on Walgrove, in the same one that fell, need to be relooked at. This is where all our school buses use, people. We can't plan for an accident before it happens, but we can lessen the chances of storm damage by removing or trimming dead or dangerous trees that are very visible throughout our village. We even have one right back here. One more thing. Please do something about the tree on Danford. There's two of them that are ready to fall down. Send a letter to Rivertown Square and tell him that if he doesn't take them down, we'll take them down at his cost. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else? Come on up.
Joe Lucchese, 93 Beacon Hill. I'm actually here as the chairperson of the Recreation Commission. And when we met the last time, the four people that were at the meeting, Carol Kearns, Dusan Davis, and Mark Legero, myself, we were looking at the Gould Park stairway and ramp that was going down. We would recommend ramp only, not, and save the money on the stairway for the bathroom that's really needed at the playground. So from the Recreation Commission, that's our recommendation. Okay. Can I change hats now? As the president of the Beacon Hill Co-op, I know you got a letter from us today. I just want to let you know that to me, there's so many egregious red flags with what we were discussing about 90, is it 94, 95 Ashford Avenue? First off, I don't know how that was zoned. I think it's downtown transition when it's not really on Ashford Avenue. Not sure how that happened. The other thing is there's so many red flags on this. I would hope that you guys would take a hard look at this. It almost seemed like it was a head fake to put something so outlandish out there that they're maybe looking for something a little bit less. And they're trying to just reach out and, because there's so many traffic items. Water heading down Gould, you know, there's 22 parking spaces that they would like to build underneath the building that they had proposed. That's more than we have in our outdoor parking lot right beside it for 2 of our buildings. So I just want you guys to take a long, hard look at this, and obviously we will be back. We came today with just a few members of our board, but if we have to, we'll bring hundreds, okay? We're against it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Joe, I do want you to say you should watch the agenda and come down. Anybody else? Wait, Bill, somebody else.
And just so we're
Sit down.
clear, that wasn't a public hearing tonight. It's,
Right,
the planning board's going to have the public hearing.
somebody else, Bill.
So I hate for them to come back in September and not be able to do it.
Hi, my name is Amanda Moger. I'm a resident of Dobbs Ferry, and I just wanted to address the parking permits for recreational use. I have a parking permit for the riverfront because I love to go to the riverfront. And my issue with that is where you have to affix the parking permit. So I know you're supposed to affix it onto the bumper. I'm not a big fan of bumper stickers. They actually drive me crazy, and although I don't have the most expensive vehicle, I am very protective of my car, and I like to make sure it's presentable to the way I want to make it look like. So my only thing is, I recently got a ticket, even though I presented my permit, and it was definitely in clear view, but I did get a ticket, which I'm trying to fight. And I just feel like that there might be a better position of where we could put these stickers, or at least a better system, because we do have not even individual meters, we have now an app. So clearly there's some kind of form of system that notifies which cars are on the right and which cars are on the wrong. And that's just kind of what I wanted to bring up today, because I'm not a big fan of where we have to fix the stickers and whatnot. So, really.
All right, thank you. Eventually, we will probably make some changes, but for the going forward, I'd advise you to put that on your bumper.
Can I also just add that the renewal system is not very simple, because I've had a recreational sticker for years, and this year was a miserable experience because there was no easy system of being able to just renew it.
Because we changed the whole system around, but no, going forward, it should be better. But we do note your complaints, and we do note it, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. Okay, Bill.
All right. So, Bill Flynn, Beacon Hill Drive, 113, former trustee for 6 years, so feels funny being on this side of the microphone.
I think Matt's sitting in your chair right now, right?
That's it. No, first and foremost, thank you for your service. Just as a testimonial to what it takes, I know I sent an email at 10:30 last night. Trustee Rosenberg responded by 11, so thank you for the prompt response. But again, here for the Beacon Hill project, again, a little deceiving that it says Ashford Avenue. It's really facing Beacon Hill Drive. As a trustee, I would call myself pro-development, but pro-appropriate development. You know, Mike, Trustee Patino, I agree, there is a need for housing in the community. But if you look at that lot, it's a single family, at best a 2-family lot. You know, they are proposing to move the property line. Interesting enough, they don't state what the original dimensions of the property line is, which to me, I look for red flags. I'm not an architect, but when I was in that seat, I looked for little red flags. So there's no starting point, but they want to go to 12,000 and change square feet, or about 0.28 of an acre. My house on Overlook Road was on 0.3 of an acre, single family raised ranch. So, you know, some of the questions that we have, some of the concerns were in my email, and I appreciate, you know, the time of taking a look at it. And we'll stay in touch with the process and attend the meetings. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Anybody else? Yes, Patty?
So Patty Steinschneider, resident of Dobbs Ferry, a member of the Dobbs Ferry Festa Committee. It is that time of year again. We are already getting lots of people signing up, so we urge people who want to get the spaces that they want to get to start signing up soon. Just to remind everybody the way it works, if you've got a brick and mortar store, you need to sign up, but we will give you the space in front of your store. If you're a brick and mortar store and you don't sign up, then there might be another, you know, vendor that would be placed in front. If you don't have a brick and mortar, but you're a Dobbs Ferry business or Dobbs Ferry resident, you do have a reduced fee, but not as much of a reduced fee as you do if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce gets the best rate except for not-for-profits. If you're from out of town, it's not onerous, it's still viable, and we want people from out of town as well as from Dobbs. I know that's controversial in some years when we let somebody come in and sell something that somebody else sells, but it's a good-sized Ferry Festa, has lots of people, and we're urging everybody to sign up and get it moving quickly. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'm easy to reach, and I think my telephone number is actually on the application, so, and the application is available online.
Can you just say the date of the Ferry Festa?
October 7th?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's the week before the Housing Summit in Albany.
Okay.
That's how most people think of the
I thought you were going to give me, yeah. It's a Jewish holiday.
In fact, you don't even need to say October 7 online. You can just
Day after is
say the week
Thanksgiving.
before the.
Halloween or.
It's the first Saturday of October.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody online? Okay, then let's move to take some action. The first action item is, yeah, you guys could leave. Bill, you know how it is, you could stay.
Clearing the house.
Okay, the first action item is to consider a resolution to establish a Route 9 Joint Committee and Advisory Committee. As way of background, and I think, well, Patty just left, but Matt could fill in after I speak. What's happened was there was a Route 9 steering committee, and part of that steering committee, we were part of that steering committee along with Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown, Irvington, Dobbs Ferry, and Hastings. This committee was set up after the new Mario Cuomo Tappan Zee Bridge was built. And the objectives were to look at the economic development along Route 9 as well as reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and traffic. And that committee was able to help get a $150,000 grant, and we had studies done. So at this stage of the game, we're ready to move on, and the steering committee has met its goal, and it's will be dissolved today based upon this resolution. In its place, we're coming up with two committees. The villages have met, and there will be two committees, one called the Joint Committee and one is the Advisory Committee. The Joint Committee will be a committee that will interface directly with the state, and the advisory committee will be made up of people who generally have been familiar with the process and who could advise, who've been on the prior committee and who could advise the advisory committee as well as the joint committee as well as the board of trustees as to what's going on. I think, Nicole, you were at the last VOC meeting where this was discussed, the makeup was discussed.
Yes,
You want to expand on that?
sure. So at the VOC meeting, which is, I guess, the mayor's and administrator manager meeting, it was discussed among the 5 communities that there would be the steering committee had basically been dissolved. There would be a joint committee where the member would be the village administrator or manager, who would be the only contact person between that community and the Department of Transportation. And it was important to the different communities that there only be the one point of contact so that there was consistency. And the reason a village manager or administrator was chosen instead of an elected official is one, because we're elected. Like this year, there's a contested election in Dobbs Ferry, and we don't know who will still be sitting on the dais, come the end of that term.
Hey.
And then 2, no offense, Matt, obviously, I'm not pointing anything out. And then number 2 is that a village administrator or manager is an employee of the community, who's more objective and doesn't have some political interest or other advocacy interest, and would be presenting the information both to the DOT and back to their individual boards in a more objective, like, this is what the deal is and this is what is going on. The other part was that there's going to be, each community was going to have an advisory committee that consisted of people who had been involved in the steering committee and which basically meant they had been involved since the beginning. And I think that committee was where if there was an elected official that wanted to participate would be appointed. So they would still be a part of the process. They'd have communication, the ability to communicate and discuss with the representative on the joint committee what their issues were, thoughts were, advice was, whatever other things they want to discuss. But that there would just be an insular joint committee so that it was more controlled conversation with the Department of Transportation.
So I think we're the last community to vote on this. All of them have appointed the village manager administrator alone, but I believe Tarrytown also has added a trustee to that. So it's my,
And just, I'm sorry to interrupt, Sleepy Hollow is also in the process of considering adding a trustee to the joint committee, and I would like to propose that, that we join Tarrytown and potentially Sleepy Hollow in doing the same, just to make sure that the joint committee has not just the objective administrative intelligence on the joint committee, but there is an advocacy component to this. Each of the villages has somewhat separate interests, and it's important to bring the knowledge of where the joint committee has been, or rather the steering committee has been, and the experience working with that $150,000 grant we got to develop the concept plan so that we can work more effectively with the DOT, which, having worked for months on the just on the striping plan for the Broadway repaving, requires a tremendous amount of advocacy. The DOT is either just finished or is finalizing their contract with with an engineering firm. I think WSP is the name of the firm. It's important that the joint committee be able to hit the ground running, and I think that having more experience on the project is better than not. So I would like to propose that we amend this resolution and include a trustee, as Tarrytown has, and as I believe Sleepy Hollow is likely to as well.
well, I don't think Sleepy Hollow is likely to do it, because I've heard otherwise as well, but we can go, that doesn't really matter. It's what affects Dobbs Ferry. So I just don't see the point of having two people on the committee. We have a professional on there who'll carry out what the advisory committee wants and what the Board of Trustees want, but the board can vote on that and we can decide. So as the motion is, I don't know how to do this from a parliamentary point of view. Do I make a
Like, if I could
motion
just
as
say,
it is
Mayor,
written?
You would read the resolution in, and then you would ask for discussion, and then if it needs to be amended, then as amended, you could take a vote.
Okay, so,
So
can I just
just,
say something, Mayor? I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to Matt's point about, there's some advocacy. I mean, that's why we have the advisory committee. There was discussion at the VOC about not even having an advisory committee and just having the joint committee go forward. And I think the collective consensus was that it made sense to have that advisory committee, in part because of their institutional knowledge, and that they would be in communication with the joint committee members. And so I don't see why the advocacy and the points that Matt raised about why he wants to make this change wouldn't be served by having him, Rob Barron, and Patty Steinschneider on the advisory committee. So I think the purpose is still served the way it's set up in the resolution as it is.
I guess the only thing I would bring up is that we, our administrator just started, and
that's why I haven't.
there's a fair amount of history here, and so I guess I'd like to understand the difference between if we were to modify this, what is it in practice? So what's the difference between an advisory committee that speaks to Rob about what their intentions and goals are, and what Matt or Rob Barron, or let's just say Matt being sort of a joint, I don't know, what's the difference? If someone could please explain that and why we would do one or the other.
Well, the advisory committee would be the advisory committee that we would give direction to what to do, discuss what our goals are. The advisory committee would then go to the meet, tell us what their history is, what their view is. And then when we decide with the advisory committee what we want out of this, we then tell that to the joint committee, whoever that may be. They relay that to the Department of Transportation. They will meet with the other villages as well to say, hey, Dobbs Ferry wants this, so Dobbs Ferry doesn't want this. The Board of Trustees is okay with this, or come back with the information. And it would be for the person that, or people who we appoint to the joint committee to put that into effect, which is just my view, and Matt seems to disagree on that, is, it's my view is that person is just a process person, right? Is a person who's not part of the, we're making the policy as the trustees, and the advisory person on the committee, all the village managers and administrators will put that into effect.
I would say that while that sounds great, there was a lot of back and forth. There's a flow chart there that I didn't completely follow from your description, but the fact is that the way you described it, we would be in conversation with the advisory committee quite frequently and then providing direction to the administrator. I think what this requires, and in my experience, working first with and then without Melissa on the striping plan, is it requires a level of sort of focus and concentration that one person working with Rob is going to be able to achieve in a way that 7 people occasionally dipping in is not going to be able to achieve. I'm not going to, this isn't a pound my fist on the table.
No, I completely agree with that. Things work better in that way.
But I think that, sorry, Mike, but I think just because I'm more familiar with the ins and outs and what the proposal is, I don't think it's going to be Rob coming back to the Board of Trustees and the 7 of us dipping our toes in or whatever. I mean, ultimately, whatever Dobbs Ferry advocates for will be decided by the full board. But the advisory committee is supposed to be in contact, however that you guys formulate your meetings, once a month, once a quarter, whatever, with the member of the joint committee, which would be our administrator, Rob. And you guys would be having those meetings on a consistent basis where you'd be the primary person with Rob and Patty having that, not the 6 of us. And then I'm sure you'll be filling us in, and then Rob will be filling us in on, what the other communities say. So the purpose that you're talking about, giving the history and all that stuff, which is something that you've had to learn over the last year. I mean, Donna was here. She's had the history since day one, but she's no longer on the board. Patty's had the history since day one too. I don't even think Rob Barron was involved from day one, but I think the purpose will still be served because you're still involved. And I think there's issues with having the elected official on the joint committee because we are transient and we are a community that reelects our people every 2 years. So if for some reason Matt gets off the board this year, then we have to reappoint someone else in December to that joint committee. And I think those are issues, but I think your purpose, Matt, is served by being on the advisory committee. And the only difference between the advisory committee and the joint committee is really the ability to speak to the Department of Transportation. And from a perspective of Dobbs Ferry, I don't think we should have multiple people speaking with the state because they are, very slow in their processes, and it takes a long time for us to get to different places at different times. And so having just one consistent voice, I think is important. But we can just take it to a vote, Mayor. And I'm sorry if I prolonged the conversation beyond what it needed to. I thought I was speeding it along by showing that the purpose Matt wanted is served by him being on the advisory committee.
This is almost taking as long as the Gould Park project. So let's just make a motion and then we can.
But what are we vote? I don't understand what we're voting on. Are we voting on that it should be the way that it is?
Right, and if you don't want to.
So that there's going to be that Rob is going to be with all the other administrators and managers on the joint committee, and then Matt or whoever will have an advisory committee that will basically give Rob the marching orders to then bring. So if you feel comfortable.
Well, the advisory committee doesn't give marching
whatever,
orders.
But if you feel comfortable, okay. I just
Go
have to
ahead,
be clear.
go ahead, Jessica.
The advisory committee, as it
stated in the resolution is made up of 3 individuals that have been involved with the steering committee and have been involved with that the striping project. So those are the advisory committees, yeah.
So I'm just going to lay it out. If you don't agree with it, then.
Sorry, can I say my point though, Vinnie? Sorry,
Yeah.
before you laid it. I mean, I just don't see the downside of having someone with institutional knowledge on with Rob, particularly since we are not, we are not saying we need something exceptional if Terrytown has already agreed to that. And I think given that Rob has just started, even in the scenario in which Matt rolls off the board in November, he will have, just saying to respond directly to Nicole's concerns about the nature of being an elected official, that will have given Rob a, running start with someone supporting him in this very important relationship with the state who has the institutional knowledge of what's going on. And personally, I don't really see a downside to that if it doesn't oblige us to subsequently appoint another trustee in November. Are we tying our hands that we have to always have an elected official there, or are we just saying we would do that for now?
So let's just move forward on this. So it's the way it is the way it's laid out. If you don't agree with it, don't vote for it, then we'll have to
I
amend
just
it.
have one more question. So when,
Yes, he may
when
not
does
get
this
elected,
actually
he may
take
get
effect?
elected. I don't
No,
know.
when does this actually take effect?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Immediately, okay.
Well,
That's
just a
it.
procedural question. If
Okay.
we vote on the resolution as it stands and it fails,
Then someone has to make a motion to amend the motion.
Right.
Okay, got it?
okay.
Got it? Okay. So, is there a motion to establish the Route 9 Joint Committee and Ad Hoc Advisory Committee appointing Rob Yamuda, Village Administrator, to the ex officio to serve as the Village of Dobbsbury designee and member of the Route 9 Joint Committee? And is a motion to appoint trustee Matt Rosenberg, ex officio Patty Steinschneider, and Rob Barron as initial members of the Route 9 Corridor Advisory Committee. Okay. Is there a motion? Trustee Sullivan, is there a second? I can't second this motion, right?
Yes, you can.
All right, I second it. All in favor? Votes 2. Okay. That fails,
Wait, what?
right?
Okay.
This, so far, so good? Procedurally?
Yep.
Okay,
So,
next.
so those opposed were 3, 4. So it failed 2 to 4 with 1 absent. All right.
Okay.
Okay. If somebody wants to bring forth another motion.
I would like to make, can it be anybody?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion that the joint committee be made up of Rob Yamuder, ex officio, and Matt Rosenberg, trustee, ex officio, and that the advisory committee be made up of Patty Steinschneider, Rob Barron, and a player to be named later.
Well,
I don't know if you can't do, I don't. think
Okay,
you can
then
do that way.
Patty and Rob.
2 members, and then you can see that it commences immediately, and then the mayor has the authority to act, because it's an ad hoc committee.
Gotcha,
So you
okay.
You can see it.
And great.
The advisory committee, the ad hoc committee?
Yes, it is.
The joint committee is not an ad hoc.
No, it is not.
Okay.
So ad
So
hoc
do you
means you
wanna-
can add somebody?
I could add something.
Okay. It seems fair.
You made a motion,
I have made my motion.
Cal second.
All in favor? Okay, all against? So that passes 4 to 2. You got that?
Yes.
Got it. Good, okay. Next item.
It touches on all these procedural issues, which are very,
Which one touches on?
that last one, it's worth discussing. I know you wanted to just move on, but.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
No, fine.
keep going. Let's
No,
go with
no,
this.
go
Let's go with
ahead,
Gould
talk.
Park. We have.
No, let's talk. We're moving along at a good clip, so go ahead.
I have nothing to add. Let's move on.
We're getting tired.
No, let's go.
See, 'cause- you're right. We can talk about this
Yeah,
after.
sure.
Okay.
Consider a resolution authorizing the village to go out to bid for the Gould Park wall and park improvements. We had a long discussion at the workshop, and we took a consensus where we've decided to move forward with it, and on an as-bid basis for the project?
Unit bid basis.
Thank you, unit bid basis, so that we will review what comes in and then decide which way to go on that. So rather than go talk further about it, I think we've spoken enough about it. So is there a motion authorizing the procurement actions and solicitation of bids for the Public Works project known as Gould Park Improvements? Trustee Rosen Asher, second trustee Patino, all in favor? Nicole, that passes unanimously. Action item number 3, consider a resolution awarding the bid for the purchase of new battery-operated extrication tools as recommended by the Dobbs Ferry Volunteer Fire Department. I thought we've already had this before us, but,
No, this is to award the contract. You
Okay.
authorized bid, but
okay, so the contract is the total amount of $35,035. Is there a motion to award the bidding of the battery as previously outlined in the amount of $35,035? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Rosen Asher. All in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 4, we have a memorandum from Jennifer Dorman dated August 9th, 2023, which advises us that we are entitled to a reimbursement from FEMA to help pay for the cost of repair of the road and catch basins on Maple Street. And that's amount of $19,462.20. Is there a motion to authorize the village administrator to execute an agreement to accept reimbursement in this amount? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 5 is to consider a resolution authorizing the village administrator to execute an agreement to accept reimbursement from FEMA for the Maple Street retaining wall. We have a memo from Jennifer Dorman dated August 9th, 2023, in which she advises us that we did get a reimbursement from FEMA in the amount of $93,410 to help reimburse us for the repairs that we've done for the retaining wall along Maple Street that happened during Hurricane Ida, which is great news. Is there a motion to accept this money? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes
Do you remember
unanimously.
what the total cost of that work was? Was it
That
just
is
the
the
full
total.
amount? Or
That
That was
was
the
it-
total cost?
So on both occasions, they reimbursed the total cost.
That's awesome.
That's great that you guys did that, Steve and Jen. Thank you. Action item number 6 is to consider a resolution to authorize a budget transfer in the amount of $2,599.99 to purchase a Solus Plus reader for the Department of Public Works. We have a memo from Stephen Trezza dated July 11th, 2023, explaining that the software update for the present items would cost $1,100 and would have to be upgraded anyway, so the cost of the new machines is $2,599.99. Is there a motion to authorize the budget transfer in that amount? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 7 is to consider a resolution accepting grant money from the Office of the Aging in the amount of $34,000. We have a memo from Margaret Parr dated August 3rd, 2023, advising us that we have been contacted by Assemblyperson Mary Jane Shimsky's office that we have been granted this amount of money, $34,000, to help create a technology learning center at the Embassy Center for the senior citizens. This is great. I think we're going to get laptops.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
Yeah, laptops, large screen tablets, a charging cart, and a smart television, and a lot of other technological equipment that will help the seniors, especially for those who are hearing impaired. So it's great that we got this grant, and is there a motion to accept it? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Item number 8, we had this discussion during the workshop where we were presented with a proposal from the library to help fund the cost of the library clock tower repair. The 50-50 match from the New York State Department of Education, and between us and the library, our share will be $5,000. Nope, it says here the village will contribute $5,420.
I think there was an
There's an amendment.
second amendment to this.
That's the this.
Yeah,
This
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it,
It's in
I
your
think
book.
it was five.
It's 5,000, 5,000.
5,000, yes. Thank you, Liz. Our share is $5,000. Is there a motion to go forward with this? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor. That passes unanimously. Action item number 9. Action item number 9. We have a memo from the chief regarding salary increases for part-time employees. The memo is dated July 21st, 2023. The chief advises us that these increases have already been approved as part of the budget. The waterfront guard will go from $15 an hour to $25 an hour. The police dispatcher, police aide will go from $19 an hour to $25 an hour. Police matron will go from $15 an hour to $25 an hour. The parking enforcement officer / meter collector will go from $15 an hour to $25 an hour. An administrative assistant to the chief was formerly $32 an hour. It will go to $35 an hour. Is there a motion to approve of these pay increases? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 10 is to consider a resolution to authorize a refund of a re-levied sewer rent erroneously collected as property taxes. Jeff, can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, this was an individual who has, is on a septic system. Took a little while to get that established with inspections and whatnot. So the fee was, the rents were waived. When we use a third-party billing company, they inactivated the account, but it didn't eliminate the balance, and it wound up being re-levied on the taxes erroneously.
Okay. So is there a motion to authorize a refund of these levied sewer rent in the amount of $448.40? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 11 is to consider a resolution approving the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer. Jeff, is there anything unusual or outstanding on this?
No, nothing unusual.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve that audit of claims? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Was I supposed to add anything else? I added yours.
No, that was mine.
The chamber thing, Vinnie.
Chamber, right, okay. So the Chamber of I'm going to add an action item. The Chamber of Commerce has previously requested that is it a donation? Is it we pay them $3,000 for the services of
The holiday
promoting
plans.
the village. Trustee Galen, can you talk more about it?
And Sherry, jump in if you have any more detail, but funding from the village for the River Towns wide events, which include the sort of jewel in the crown, the holiday trolley. And I know Hastings has already approved the funding, and I think Irvington did as well. I'm not sure, but this is sort of they're providing these services to our village, and the idea is that we're doing that.
So this is, there's not going to be a separate request for the holiday trolley later on. This is inclusive?
That is my understanding.
You've already paid for the holiday.
I think we only gave them $1,000 for the holiday trolley, didn't we?
Is that last?
Yeah, last year.
Talk about this at this DOC meeting I
It's
was.
not, it's just, I'll just add as a little background. I mean, it's not uncommon or unheard of for municipalities to support, local not-for-profits, and the chamber exists to help with economic development issues and to help our business owners, and especially, we don't have our downtown advocate yet, but, that's still out there, so people please apply for that or find good people, because that's made a world of a difference in Hastings. But this is a way to show that all that the chamber is doing really helps the village, and that the village is, in agreement of working together with the chamber to help with economic development kinds of issues. It's a nominal amount of money. We've given more for parades and things. Like I said, Hastings has already committed to this as well, and it is a river towns chamber that helps all of the villages.
We have to do some more research.
And they're all volunteers,
I think that, okay.
I'm not opposed to the money. Is there like a specific, like, I understand the trolley component, but is there, Jessica, is there a list of items that we're saying, okay, we're going to commit X number of dollars and it's going to cover portions of these 4 elements or something like that? And just so we have some
I
understanding.
just want to say Christy Nell sent us all an email on July 22nd.
Yeah.
And she has a funding request. Unfortunately, I cannot open it for some reason.
Can I just jump in though? Because I
Oh.
was, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was at the VOC meeting when this request came in to the different communities, and it's supposed to not just be for one specific event. It's supposed to be for a couple of, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 events, and it was to help the chamber, plan events so that it knew that it had certainly in place instead of trying to plan it and then asking us like a month or 2 in advance. And so it was annual. It's not. It's in addition to what we already promised, but it's annual. It was 1,000 per community, and it didn't include Ardsley, but it was Dobbs, Hastings, and Irvington. And I agree that I think it's something we should support. Those events draw a lot of people to Dobbs Ferry, and they really pull the community together, and that's what we should still be working on doing in Dobbs.
This needs an agreement similar to what you do with the River Arts and similar.
Right.
So why don't we do this? Why don't I
And I've
send
never
you-
heard of it
Right.
before,
So why don't
so-
I send you the request from the
Thank you.
Chamber of Commerce? You can review it,
I'll draft something.
draft something. I think the consensus is, though, that we approve this. So with that in mind, we're not going to take an official vote now, but with that
Right.
in mind, if you can review it, and if it's okay, then we can move forward with it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's also, we also engage with the Historical Society.
Right.
And it's an annual appropriation in your budget process. So.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
And we ask for updated appendices every year as an exhibit, as a debrief, so we can understand what we're getting for the services. And in this case, they're looking to add this to next year's budget. I'm confused because.
This
She
was
lays it
the
out here and what they're looking
Okay,
for.
okay, send it to me, and I'll see if I can draft something and engage directly with, if there's a director, that would be helpful, because I'd have to get the document over to them to take a look at it.
I do believe Hastings has approved it, so we can look at their resolution approving it as well. I don't know about the
Well,
other.
you know I don't copy people's stuff. I do my own research. But I do have an agreement template, because we do engage with River Arts. And that's, that's a community, a multi-community organization as well. So I think we could easily adapt that if the board would like to earmark $3,000 toward this. I could work on it.
Okay, so the trustee Patino will send you the,
That's really,
okay, if it opens.
yeah, I wasn't aware.
I know,
would've
I'm
had it
sorry to
ready.
spring
I'm
this
sorry.
on you. It's one of those things that I told someone that I would add to the agenda, and I
Okay,
forgot all about.
all right.
So-
Thank you.
And this is in regards to the presentation that they did make to the entire board at the
Yeah.
meeting. Just so we're all on the same page that we have,
Yes.
heard about some of this. So
Right.
memo,
Purple doesn't work.
yeah, if we can, amend, or I'm happy to send it along. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're at the trustee reports. Matt, do you have anything you want to add or advise us of?
I do not.
Trustee Rosen Asher.
The Human Rights and Diversity Committee has, I think, going through, with the help of their intern this summer, the survey that was sent out, and they are looking to present it to us sometime in September. And I've been talking to them a lot about that. They will be doing something for, I believe, Hispanic Heritage Month. They will be working with the library on several different events and things, and things for Fairy Festa. And I think that's all I have.
So Rob, if you could just make a note to add their presentation onto one of those meetings in September. We'll do that. Okay, great. Mike, do you have anything?
No, not today.
Trustee Galen.
The downtown committee did a parking boot camp, they called it. I don't know if anyone was able to attend. I wasn't able to attend, unfortunately. But they were very excited about that and excited to dive in on supporting the success of Fairy Festa.
Okay, and I have an announcement that the annual September 11th memorial service is scheduled for Monday, September 11th at 6:30 at the 9/11 Monument at Waterfront Park. As in years past, the fire department will take the lead on the event and handle all the details. The fire department will send out a flyer in the near future, which we will post on our Facebook page and put in our village newsletter. And I think the county's also having an event that day for 9/11. I think it's
At
earlier
Kensico.
in the day, at Kensico, right. So,
I think it's at 3.
3 o'clock, I think.
I'll be at that one then.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, our flyer for that is already up on the website on the homepage.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything further? If there's nothing further, is there a motion to close tonight's meeting? Trustee Rosen Asher, you sure? Shari, you sure you want to close this meeting? You sure you want to close
I'm
it?
positive.
Trustee
100%.
Trustee Patino seconds it. All